let's organize the shells to make more sense of what we have here. So maybe I'll turn off the checker, and I'm going to try to fit everything into this area. Well, one thing I could do is I could go to UV shell, I could select everything, and I could go to modify layout. Let's see. If I get that error, let's see. Okay. Never go to fix. What that should say is screw up your geometry forever and you'll regret that you ever pushed that button. Okay, so don't press that button. What I'm going to do, and what that was supposed to do, is lay it out manually here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select this stuff, move it out of the way, and then I'm going to just grab all of this stuff and then kind of scale it down and move it off to the side. Okay, good. And maybe I could even make this bigger. I'm going to start with the main body of the plane, and this is kind of the most important thing. So I'm going to make this nice and big like that. Okay. Here's the bottom of the plane. Maybe scale that up like this. I'm just trying to make kind of some sense on where all these things are. Here's kind of the back fin of the plane. Maybe move this down here. Okay, great. So you can see I've got all the kind of these tail fins. This is the underside of the wing, so maybe I'll scale that up. And you know, it doesn't have to be straight. I could angle it like that to try to, you know, fit it on here even better. Something like that. I really want to kind of utilize this space as best I can. This is the side of the plane, so these are going to be bigger pieces. Maybe we've got a little bit more room over here, so maybe I'll go like that. Okay, so you're starting to get the idea here where it's kind of like you lay it out flat and then you kind of organize the shells the best that you can, make sense of it. Just trying to fit these wherever I can. Okay, and the last thing I want to look at is this. This is kind of the jet engine area here. So if I look at that, it looks really weird. Okay, and if I look at this with the checkers, it doesn't really make much sense. Even if I scaled it bigger so I can get a better look at it, it looks really weird. Okay, so to make this simple on us, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to break this up by selecting this piece and doing a planar map. Great, move that off to the side. Then I will select these, maybe just this piece, because I can picture that kind of laying all flat. I'll do a planar map. Okay, and this piece as well. So in other words, if I try to get too ambitious with something and it's not working, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's close, but it's not quite the end of the world, right? I just have to cut it up a little bit more, and then I will be fine. So I'm just going to take the inside here. And notice how all of these things I feel like are very confident that these are going to lay flat. Maybe I grab the bottom of this. And the top of this. Looks like I might have had an extra piece selected. Yeah, I did. So I'm going to undo that. There we go. And then maybe these, actually, let's see, so if I go like that. You might be asking yourself like, well, what if it's just going to be a solid color? Do I need to really UV map it? And the answer is yes. Technically, everything should be UV mapped if you're going to be doing this, professionally. Is UV mapping exciting? Not really, right? I feel like it's kind of this very technical task that a lot of people just wish they didn't have to do. And this is actually a great way to get into the industry, I feel. Just because nobody wants to do it, but I feel like if you spend time and get good at it, it can be a great starting point. And maybe not something that you're going to stay doing forever, but at least it kind of gets your foot in the door. Okay. So, and you could take time to kind of even organize that a little bit better. I feel like hopefully that just gave you an idea of what it means to UV map, looking at organic objects and hard surface objects. So I feel like the other thing I want to check with this is if I go with this, I want to make sure that all the shells are blue, indicating that they're flipped the correct way, or that they're not flipped upside down. And I can see that that's the top of the plane. I can see that's the bottom of that wing, the bottom of this wing. And you can see that this is structured or it's organized different than the example that we had. And there's not necessarily a right or a wrong way. I guess there's wrong ways to do it, but I feel like it's not like there's an exact answer of how this should be laid out. I think that if this is intuitive enough for, let's say, a new texture artist to come in and kind of understand what they're doing here, like if they wanted to put decals on the wings, it'd be easy to do that here or right here. It would also be easy to put that here. And then I think that also, if it passes the checker test, so in other words, if these checkers are readable from all angles, then we know that that works, okay? That it'll hold the resolution, and then we could put our graphics, whatever that is, on this. We could add color in Photoshop, and then we could reapply that, and it would all work out. So hopefully that gave you some insight to UV mapping. I think that I would suggest taking a lot of different shapes and trying things out, and also looking at, if I go into the general editor's content browser, I think if you open up all these different props, they're already UV mapped for you, and then you could take a look at how the UV map is laid out. You can see for different people and different animals how that's laid out, different clothing and props, different vehicles. And once you start seeing that and then practicing these methods, you'll become more and more comfortable with UV mapping.